Hey everyone, welcome to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I mean, Fuego here.
For the third time, thanks to me screwing up and false starting. but
It's the charm.
Here we go, guys. We are here to talk about Ready or Not. This movie just came out today. Fuego got to see. Did you actually go to the screening on Monday?
No, because we had just a last minute cancellation at like 5 something from Lindsay, and we had to reschedule, and I just didn't know if there was even going to be adequate time for me to get out there and all of that. So no, it's all yesterday.
But we are here to talk about it so you guys know whether or not you think it's, or whether or not we think it's worth your time. So let's jump into it, Fuego. Why don't you go ahead and give your opinion first on this one?
Overall impression, I saw a lot of really positive blurbs from a few critics that I like, and that is the problem. Is that if I get too much of a hype expectation thing going down, I think, and plus the trailer was rad status, and it's just funny how this movie gets to come out and The Hunt does not. But long story short, I think the expectation was just a little too high in some regards, but I still had a ton of fun with it. It's gleefully, unapologetically violent. And there's a few set pieces, one in particular in a barn that is really effective and just shows the range of this awesome Ms. Weaving, who I've really enjoyed the hell out of, from Mayhem to The Babysitter. And she's apparently going to be in that third Bill and Ted movie as one of the kids. I don't know, whichever one Alex Winters plays, Blondie dude. Bill S. Preston or whatever.
Bill S. Preston Esquire.
Esquire, that's right. So yeah, I mean it was really good, but I can't go as far as to say that I absolutely loved it. But this is the sort of film that has just the kind of tone that I would recommend people, go and check out if you're into this sort of just kind of messed up stuff. It's not for the faint of heart, and it's definitely not for everybody. And it plays into certain tropes and whatnot. But yeah, man, I still enjoyed it thoroughly. So.
Yeah, my overall impressions were I enjoyed it as well, but I will say that I don't know that I had too high of expectations. I did hear a couple of people say that they really enjoyed it, but I just felt like it was good. It was fun. The humor that made people laugh around me didn't really make me laugh. So I'm not saying it's bad humor. There's some dark humor, which I appreciated more than enjoyed funnily. You know what I mean? So that part was a little bit off for me. I thought that this was going to be a tradition kind of thing, and we'll get to this a little bit more in story, but it's not as much of a tradition as I thought it was going to be. So it led to a bit of Keystone Coppery that I wasn't expecting necessarily. I mean, they did allude to a little bit of it in the trailer, but I just, the silliness at times and ineptitude at times was just a little bit much for me. So, I don't know. It was a mixed bag for me, but I didn't not enjoy it. I thought it was okay. I don't know that I needed to rush out and see it in the theater, so, you might not need to spend your money that way or go see a matinee or something, but it was enjoyable enough. So why don't you talk about the story, Fargo?
Yeah, so story of this one is the fact that we have this orphaned new bride who, bounced through different foster parents and stuff like that, and didn't really, she was looking for just some sort of connection and semblance in place, and she's seemingly found that with this rich, well-to-do husband who is similarly estranged, although he still has a family. And within the first few minutes of the film, he's basically giving her the rundown of, okay, this is a silly thing that my family, because of the fact that, they started with cards and then they shifted into board games and doing other things as their prominence rose. It's kind of this silly tradition where, on the night that somebody's being brought into the family, spouse-wise, they have to play a game, and it could be one of many things. And yet the one thing that's alluded to within a few minutes is that there could be, since it's almost like a random choice as to what game is played, and I guess that's what you were referring to just a moment ago, is the fact that it's not exactly tradition. It's a possibility of tradition that they speak as only happened maybe once or twice before, only once in the lifetime of one character. In particular,
it happened 30 years prior to this,
mm-hmm.
so it's not something that most of these characters are used to doing.
Exactly right, and that's another thing to say, that these characters are not, at least not all of them, written in a completely evil fashion. Andy McDowell's character in particular being one that comes to mind, but there is a strange shift that happens pretty quickly and just shows the simpleton nature, and also the just how adjusted they are to their luxuries. And this is me really trying to dance around without spoiling too much, but yeah, it's a shift that pretty much everyone goes through. There's really only one family member in particular that seems really just unwelcoming of our new bride in Samara Weaving, and that is the seeming oldest one, the sister of the soon-to-be father-in-law, and she's the one that you see welding an axe in the trailer and just being ridiculous. I think she's the most over-the-top character, with the exception of I think she was a sister or sister-in-law or something, the one who was kind of substance really addicted and everything. Really, everybody else, even Adam Brody, is a little more on the mild-mannered, just kind of. I don't know. He's like, I thought he actually had more to do than even the husband in this, or just the husband who was bringing Samara into the family and everything. I thought Adam had a little bit more of a range and an interesting kind of angle of sorts, with his just disillusionment with this family and its traditions in particular. So yeah, he was written in kind of the more interesting fashion for me. And Samara, she has an arc to a degree.
Well, are we getting into acting already? What's going on?
No, not quite. I wasn't trying, but I guess it just really turns into a death game of hide and seek, and ready or not, here we come, and that's about all that we can say. You've seen everything else in the trailers. I mean, come on.
So yeah, I thought the story worked well enough, but it ended up being a bit more hollow than I guess maybe I was hoping it would be. It was exactly what the trailer said. So outside of Samara Weaving and her husband-to-be, and even they're not really developed terribly much, there's just not much character development, which ultimately ended up being pretty disappointing to me, because some of the actors in the movie are ones that I really like. There's a guy from Orphan Black in this, Christian Brun, who is a really funny actor. He's the one that played a game to get into the family, sort of the bigger guy that shows up late. And so there was
Fitch or whatever,
Fitch.
And he's like, stop being a bitch, Fitch.
And then was that Andy McDowell, or who was that?
That was totally Andy McDowell as the soon to be mother-in-law.
And so there was a lot of fun people to see playing, but they all didn't really have enough to do. They didn't have enough of an arc, each of them. Since I'm jumping on to where you were about to go anyway, let's just get into the acting. Mm-hmm. Not enough of them had an arc to really let them shine as actors. A couple of them did, but really just nothing really. I don't know. There was no one that really stood out outside of Samara Weaving. Even her boyfriend was kind of sidelined for a portion of the movie. So everyone else was playing caricatures while she was actually stuck in a movie full of caricatures, it felt like.
Yeah, and some are saying it's a star turn for her. It's something that could make her, become one of these more iconic up-and-coming final girl types of sorts because of what she has to deal with here. And back to the pain and the agony of her in this bar scene, where this member of the family you would not necessarily expect to attack her does, and shoots her, and then she falls into this I don't know, it's like a lower level of this farmhouse with corpses and all kinds of craziness in it, and there's a borderline goat attack that transpires, and just how she has to climb out of this area. It's intense, and it almost reminded me to a degree of certain things I saw maybe in the Evil Dead remake, not to that gore effect, but as far as just agony and like just gross bits of, I don't know. She sold it very, very well, and she wears blood good, you know. I mean, which we've seen her do before, you know. Mayhem was not a particularly memorable or you know, just a groundbreaking film. It came out the same time as Belko Experiment, but I thought she was really memorable in it, and she was good. And just as far as this like kind of borderline bit of you know, she looks like the girl next door, but she's got almost like a little crazy mean streak, and she really brings it in this, and it serves it well. But yeah, as far as performance wise, everybody else is very over the top caricatures that are underdeveloped and not really anything happens. And there is a twist with one particular character that, without spoiling things, I was just like, okay, yeah, I kind of knew this was eventually going to transpire. So
yeah, forgive me guys, you guys are literally seeing me devolve over here. My eyes are watering. I'm having an allergy attack literally live during the review. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so my allergy attack notwithstanding, let's continue on. I mean, the acting overall isn't bad. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but it's just no one is really given an opportunity to stand out given the material that they have to work with. You know what I mean? Outside of Samara Weaving. And yeah, there is a bit of a something that happens later that was like kind of something you're just waiting for, unfortunately. There is an aspect to the film that they did not allude to in the trailer that I was really pleased with, being a big horror movie fan. And so once they I know they kind of mentioned something along the lines, I think, in the trailer, if I remember correctly, but you don't know exactly until you watch it. So I appreciated that, and maybe we'll do a tiny bit of spoiler at the end. But let's talk about the effects, man. The effects were interesting. They were there was definitely some CG that needed to be done at a point, but overall, I mean, there's a good amount of gore, and it's played for laughs at times, so I think your allusion to Evil Dead is not necessarily far off at times.
yeah, it gets well, we see some of the brutality in the trailer with shotgun blasts to people's faces, and you know, arrows through throats, or you know, like right through people's mouths or whatever. So yeah, when they actually happen, they're decently gory, but I mean, something with a character's hand, without saying who it happens to, that's the bit that just really stuck with me more so than anything else. And just a hand with a gunshot through it and a nail, that's the bit that it looked disgusting, and it sold just ugh, I don't know, it made my skin crawl a little bit. And that was more so than anything where I made the Evil Dead remake connection, you know, Fetty's. As far as I mean, the design of the house and everything, very cool, with just this whole lengthy just lineage of artifacts, and you know, all kinds of old school weapons, you know, muskets, and you know, various guns throughout the years, and you know, trophy animals. And I mean, you can just really sense that semblance of history that this family and all of their pursuits and successes and stuff has amassed. And it was very convincing. Like, the whole design of the house was incredibly impressive, I think, and it didn't shy away from just that sort of excess and, you know, I guess success that they found. So
yeah, the production design was pretty sweet, that's for sure. It definitely, while it was clearly just a, you know, felt like it's a typical sort of situation where all the characters have to be in this one place for the entire time, and so
keep that budget low.
Conveniences have to occur. But if you can get beyond that, and it's not a hard thing to get beyond, you can have some fun. Again, sorry, I thought I was almost good, but then my eyes started going watery again, so I apologize, guys. But obviously, I was not ready for this review. Actually, one of the cool things is the people behind the film dropped off a couple of shirts, actually, that we'll be dropping in some of our boogie boxes. But
yeah, I saw the photo on Instagram, man. It's cute.
It's cool. It's got a pick and choose your weapon, and then on the back It says a killer game of hide and seek, and the pick and choose your weapon has a bunch of weapons and a teapot on it. So, having seen the movie, everything makes a little bit more sense now. So,
the teapot.
so yeah, they also dropped
guy's...
off a couple of cupcakes associated with it, but those are for Dave. So, I'm not able to do those. So. Yeah, I think that's as good a place as any to call this one. Sorry, guys. I mean, the movie's enjoyable enough. Fuego liked it a bit more than me, obviously, but it's not that I disliked it. I thought it was fun enough, but it's not something I'm going to rush to watch again. I think once was enough for now. So, overall, I would recommend seeing it, but I don't know that you need to rush out and see it right away at the theater full price.
Yeah, it was really Samara and her charm at the end of the day, and I mean, just there's a brief amusing incorporation of music, and from one character who has some teapot action happen to his face, and then also the Ready or Not song that or the hide and seek song or whatever that they put on the record player, I thought was especially amusing as far as setting a tone. But I mean, really, I don't know. I saw some people saying this was one of the most, and some critics I really enjoy saying this was one of the most gleefully, violent romps, so on and so forth. And I'm just like, it's pretty good. But I'm maybe a little closer to your frame of thinking after the discussion. But Samara is a charmer, and I don't know. She saves the film in a lot of ways for me, as well as a little bit of the stuff from Adam Brody. But even his role could have been bigger and more interestingly fleshed out. So.
Well, well, did you like the ending? I ultimately did like the ending. Again, without spoiling it, I was hoping they would go the way they did, and they did, so I was satisfied by the end for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those, psych, is it happening? Oh, psych, it's not happening. Or maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It does keep you guessing, as far as the whole just lore that they lay out, and this whole kind of bet pact sort of thing that these two, the patriarch of the family made with this other rich guy, neither of which of them being around anymore.
All right, so that is going to do it for our talk about Ready or Not, starring Samara Weaving, the up-and-coming final girl who likes to get gory after this and Mayhem, and The Babysitter, actually. So why don't you guys let us know in the comments down below if you saw the movie, what did you think? Let us know your non-spoiler thoughts down there. If you haven't seen it yet, are you interested to see it? Are you going to see it? Or did we sway you the other way somehow? Let us know all of that in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button and subscribe if you want to make sure you don't miss episodes going forward. We're closing in on announcement time, so we're less than 2 months away, so it's pretty exciting. So thank you guys very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias, Jaime, and Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.
Stay scared.